Hello everyone, welcome to Fight News Now Extra. It's John Pollock. Coming up this weekend, the UFC is back in Brazil for a fight night event, and we're going to hear from a number of the fighters in action. And then John Ramdeen, Robin Black, and I will take a further look at the card and discuss whatever else is going on in today's news. 14 months ago, Carlos Condit tore his ACL and partially tore his meniscus in a fight with Tyron Woodley at UFC 171, and this Saturday he returns to action as he meets Thiago Alves. The former WEC champion spoke to members of the media this week and broke down the skill set of Alves in this battle of welterweight veterans in the UFC.
Yeah, I'd be concerned whether I was coming off a knee injury or not, because he does have devastating leg kicks. But it's something that I'm ready for, something we've prepared for, and yeah, I'm ready. I wouldn't say there's really any weaknesses. He's a complete fighter. I think it's just who executes on fight night.
For Thiago Alves, this Saturday will mark the first time since 2011 that the 31-year-old has fought twice in the same year, with a quick turnaround after defeating Jordan Meehan at UFC 183 at the end of January this year. Alves spoke to the media about how he wants the fight with Carlos Condit to go down on Saturday night.
I'm going to knock him out or submit him. It's not going to go to distance. If it go to distance, he's going to take the beating of his life. And I win over him, I'll be the next one in the line. If not, definitely one fight away to fight for the belt. So, that's the plan.
And finally, we're going to hear from Nick Lentz, who gets his rematch with Charles Oliveira this Saturday. The two fought in June of 2011 with a controversial ending as Oliveira landed an illegal knee, and that would lead to the submission victory for Oliveira, which was later turned into a no contest. The American top team fighter has won 4 of his last 5 fights and spoke about the changes to his game since that first fight.
No, man, the only thing different about this is that you're going to see how much I've changed in the last, 4 whatever years. I was a completely different fighter then. I had enormous talent, but I didn't get to the point, I didn't have the right coaching, I didn't have the right people to mold that talent, I was a talent from the beginning, but I had no technique. Now I got all the technique, so I'm a dangerous man.
And for all of your coverage on Saturday night, we will be live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with our pre-fight show counting down to the card from Brazil. And then at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Fight Network will present the 4 preliminary fights from Brazil before the main card at 10. Here with John Ramdeen and Robin Black, we have a lot of fights coming up this weekend, not only in Brazil. We've got our pre-fight show Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Robin's getting into a jet to go call more fights on Saturday night.
Burlington, Ontario, yeah, it's like a 12-second flight from my house.
Tell us a bit about what's going on. There's some local action for once in Ontario.
Global Warriors, it's an organization here. Ontario doesn't have a lot of MMA shows. They should, but they don't. There's a commission here that is far harsher than 99.9% of commissions on earth, run by a commissioner who seems to be more interested in stopping MMA shows from happening. But fortunately, it's a great one happening in Burlington this weekend with some of the top stars from Ontario, Josh Hill and Alex Ricci and Ryan Dixon, Adrian Woolley, the best of the best in Ontario. And I'm going to go commentate with my friend Reed.
Yeah, loading up that Fight Network private jet. It's going to get its money's worth over the weekend. Let's look ahead, because I might pop into the jet after to head down to Goiania, Brazil, as Carlos Condit will be taking on Thiago Alves. A very exciting welterweight fight. I don't see any kind of scenario where this is not an extremely entertaining fight between these two welterweights. And I guess with Carlos Condit, we're going to see a win here, puts him right back into the thick of things at 170 pounds.
Yeah, Carlos Condit, clearly one of the most skilled and intelligent fighters, definitely at 170 pounds. And he knows that you get a victory over Thiago Alves, you throw yourself back into that mix, considering the fact that he was champion before. He had that fight with Rory McDonald. They were supposed to have a rematch, and the idea, if you're a hardcore fan of the sport, let's just say it's Robbie Lawler that retains his title. A matchup between Carlos Condit and Robbie Lawler. Give me a break. Who would want to see that?
Awesome. And Carlos Condit rises to the very top as interim champion, fights George, kicks him in the head, drops him, but is basically out-wrestled and out-controlled. Then he fights Johnny Hendricks, out-wrestled ever so slightly, wins one of the 3 rounds, loses 2. Then he comes back, and that mastery over Campman is one of the great performances of this decade.
See it.
Phenomenal, yeah. You have to get Fight Pass just to watch this. and then after that blows out his leg. I don't see any scenario in which, unless there's some lightning from the sky or he has not been able to get back to where he was, I don't see any scenario in which he can't put on an incredible show against Thiago Alves.
Also on the card, Charles Oliveira and Nick Lentz. Their first fight in 2011 was a great fight at the time when Nick Lentz really got dogged for being a guy that was not always in the most exciting fights, and it ended after an illegal knee by Charles Oliveira. It led to the finish and then eventually overturned to a no contest. 4 years later, do you see a lot of changes in both fighters, John?
I mean, not really with Nick Lentz. Yeah, he's a boxer who uses wrestling and that grinding style, and I really don't think he's going to change that. Obviously, primarily a wrestler, but you start the fight standing. I would expect the goal is to try to be on top of Charles Oliveira, but we've seen how mobile he is, especially with his jiu-jitsu. Look at that fight with Hatsu Hioki. Very, very exciting fighter. And I have a feeling this is a guy that will challenge for the title in the future.
Yeah, this one, you would have said, well, you know, Nick Lentz was outsized at 155 pounds in the last fight. But it's the same guy, so he's going to be outsized in this one too. Nick Lentz is one of these guys that's way better than we want him to be. Do you know what I mean? People don't seem to like Nick Lentz. Personally, I'm a Nick Lentz fan. Judge me all you want. I like this kind of guy. This aggressive mentality, this go, go, go till you get what you want type of guy. But when you lost, and I mean, yes, it was a no contest. Yes, it was an illegal knee, but he was losing pretty badly. It's a tough assignment to come up, but Nick Lentz likes to go into Brazil. He likes to go into enemy territory. He likes to be counted out. I like Nick Lentz. I enjoy his style. I got a weird feeling he's going to find a way to do it.
One last thing, we did talk about this a lot on Thursday involving Betch Kohei and her comment towards Ronda Rousey. She has since come out and apologized, but then in apologizing, she snuck in this thing about Ronda Rousey failing a drug test at the Olympics, which never happened. It almost feels like she wanted to insult here, but was going to scale back. And it just seems that, I don't know, there was some premeditation here in terms of she does want to get into this woman's head. And I think she realized, maybe I crossed the line, but then throwing out this lie, which is maybe people will accept this a bit better.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter. I mean, Chael Sonnen has set the standard of what you're allowed to say in mixed martial arts. Essentially, you can say whatever you want, create interest. Hopefully, people will tune in to see Ronda Rousey beat her up, or either way, or the Brazilians are going to tune in to see her try to capture the title. So either way, a lot of people are going to watch.
Yeah, and she could just be a terrible person. We don't know. But she could also be playing games, and I don't think these games, they're relevant to Ronda Rousey. Irrelevant. But if it sells some more pay-per-views, good on her.
All right. He is Robin Black, John Ramdy, and I am John Pollock. More of Fight News Now Extra is coming your way.